What is up, everyone? Welcome to No Life Digital Podcast. Notice how I said No Life Digital Podcast. That's because you're getting one podcast this week. We're merging the two. We're merging the gaming and the tech section into one super podcast this week. Next week, next week, we should have a show next week. And then the following 2 weeks after that, there might not be a show. It depends on Jerry or Doobie if they want to do one. But I will be out those next 2 weeks, maybe even that third week as well. But we'll keep you guys updated. Hopefully, we have some content in between those two downtime. Other than that, yeah, we're just gonna crunch a big show for you tonight. There's some gaming news we want to talk about. There's a bunch of new products coming out in tech that we want to talk about. I want to talk about Logan Paul. I want to talk about some of these Apple rumors. We'll talk about the Madden shooting. So there's some news that we're going to get into. Then we'll get out of here. I can't stay too long tonight. That's kind of why I wanted to put these two shows together. Actually, the whole reason why we broke the show up into two different shows was to allow it to be more easily consumable, so we didn't have 2 hour-and-a-half shows for you to listen to. But somehow that ended up into becoming exactly that, 2 hour-and-a-half shows for you to listen to. So the idea is to just have 1 hour-and-a-half show for you. And that's what
instead of two 1.5 hour shows, because that's what it was half of the time anyway.
That's what I'm saying.
It wasn't even an hour show. Sometimes it was an hour and a half.
Yeah, we were doing one show initially, and then we were like, let's break this up. That way it's easier for the audience to consume 2 shows. So now the last show we kind of kept it on time, and the show before that we're doing pretty good with it. We're gonna try to keep them shorter for you. I know some of you might want to you might like longer form podcasts, but you still get, at least one long-form podcast. Sometimes you get 2. Anyways, let's jump into the gaming section. Let's talk about real quick what we've been playing. Doobie, you've been playing Hollow Knight?
Yeah, I am loving this game.
What do you like about it?
Sorry, I realized I had my fan on high. It's fun. If you like Metroidvanias, it's a solid Metroidvania. Just kind of exploring. There's really no tutorials. It's just explore, find things. I finally found the fast travel feature. It doesn't like really do anything new so far. It just does all the right things really well.
So it's basically just like a big sort of open world 2D platformer with RPG elements in it.
Yeah. There's kind of like where you defeat bosses, you get new skills that let you travel to new places that were retraveling to old places that unlock some new stuff, and then kind of like a currency system for when you beat enemies. So think like Dark Souls. It's the easiest way to say it. When you defeat enemies, you get like what's essentially is called souls in this game as well. And you get like this
kind of like Dead Cells.
Yeah, and you can spend that to buy like new items, like expand your health meter, upgrade your weapon, things like that.
Does it have the key ingredient? Edginess?
It's not really edgy.
It's not Dark Souls.
Really, it's all based on like insects, I guess is the best way to say it. Like they're all bugs, but it's just a really cool art style that I'm enjoying.
That's the true marking of Dead Cells and Dark Souls in all of those games. It's not difficulty; it's the edginess.
I forgot. I go ahead, continue. I'll bring it up after.
No, it's like any other game like that. You're gonna die. I've had boss fights where I've died after I got baited on the last boss fight I did, where I thought I won, and then it goes into phase 2, and then I died again.
So it is difficult?
I don't think it's punishingly difficult. Mm-hmm. Like it's not so difficult I want to throw the controller, but it's the right difficulty for me.
Yeah, it's just kind of just enough to keep you playing, but not too much where it's like you feel like it's a chore.
It's enough where I'm gonna die. I know I'm gonna die, but I'm not like It's I didn't die because the game janked me. I died because I didn't learn a pattern and I
Right.
got greedy.
Yeah.
That's the difficulty I like, where I'm the reason I died.
That's kind of what Dark Souls does so well. It's like that's why it's been so successful. Cuz it never feels like it's cheating you out. It's just you suck.
Yeah.
You just get too impatient and you want to go for that last hit. You know, that sliver of health is right there. You're just like I'm just going to fucking double team them attack or whatever. And
then
that's when you die.
hit.
That's when you die every time. You have to be patient. And
You got to do the pro strat. You got to summon 3 phantoms and sit in the back and do nothing.
Yeah, I will say that the health mechanic is actually kind of interesting. Whereas like those games, you use potions, or like in a regular Metroid game, you would kill enemies and pick up health. In this, you have like a kind of like a special meter, and when you kill enemies, you fill that special meter up, and that meter is used for all of your special attacks. And if you sit there and hold the A button and what they call focus, you actually can replenish your health.
and that will deplete your special meter and not allow you to use your skills more often then.
Yeah, and it leaves you vulnerable. So if you're trying to use it in the middle of a boss fight, you got to sit there and you pretty much leave yourself just wide open. So you need to learn when is a safe time to heal if you need to.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Estus system in Dark Souls.
Or don't get hit.
Yeah, or don't get hit. I always wanted to check Hollow Knight out. There's one game that I haven't checked out yet. But
It's
on Switch.
As far as I know, it's on sale right now.
On Switch?
For $10 on Switch with all of the DLC.
Yeah, that's normal pricing PC wise. So yeah, definitely get it then.
It is a steal for $10.
All right, I'm gonna pick it up then, because I've been playing 2 games. Neo. I've been jumping back into Neo on PlayStation, and dude, that game is so fucking hard. It's harder than any of the Dark Souls. This is like the hardest sort of Souls game I've played, and it's because it's so heavily reliant on like being good at the game, and it like I'm like is my second playthrough, and I'm about halfway through right now, and I just forgot how fucking difficult it is. But that's what's so fun about it, man. I love that you feel like you're getting good at the game. You know, you actually like feel like you're getting better at it. I highly recommend, if you guys like Souls games, pick up Neo. It's like this, you play as like this white samurai dude, Western samurai that goes to Japan, and you have to conquer all the yokai. But it's just really fun. It's just a really fun Souls-like game. There's a lot of deep mechanics. There's a crafting system. There's all sorts of different weapons and stat rolls, and it's just pretty fun. But you're going to die. It's very, very difficult. Much more difficult than Dark Souls, like by a magnitude of 10. But if you like that kind of shit, then Neo is the next evolution of that. I'm excited. We saw a gameplay footage of that other game. I forget what it was called. Shadow something.
Neo 2.
That new Souls game that they just showed at Gamescom.
Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice.
Yeah, that game looks fucking... That looks like a better version of Neo, which is a harder version of Dark Souls. And I'm all for it.
They've come out and said that Dark Souls is done. They're not making any more Dark Souls games.
Good.
And that's fine, because they're making essentially Dark Souls games.
But a different world. Yeah, I'm okay with that also. Because the
And
Neo... yeah. This one doesn't look edgier. This one looks more cinematic, if that makes sense. But
I mean, I like the ideas of what they're adding into it with the grapple and things like that.
Yeah.
Like using that in battle.
Well, the thing is with Dark Souls, it's very old school RPG like, where you kind of like have these slow hits or you have a really fast build. With Neo, I noticed that it's very like you play as a samurai, so it's all dependent on how you kind of link your different skills together, and that's really cool. So a lot of the gameplay mechanic is focused on switching your sets mid swing, so I can have a really fast sort of spear attack and then follow it up with a really slow hammer attack, and you build your meter depending on how well you pull these tricks off, and that's adds to the whole aspect of it. And then you're fighting these insanely difficult bosses, and you have to manage your Estus, and I forget what they call it in Neo, but so all the same sort of soul systems. But looking at how Dark Souls or From Software is doing it with this next game, it looks like it's kind of follow that same realm, where it's like you're a samurai, so combat is the main focus and how good you are at combat. So I'm excited for it. And I've also been playing The Witcher 3. Jumping back into Witcher 3. I saw the Cyberpunk, which we'll get into, the Cyberpunk gameplay demo. And I was like, you know what? It's been a while. I haven't played through these new DLC packs. Let's do it. Let's jump back into Witcher 3 world. And every time I play it, every single time I play it, I get so mad that Doobie hasn't played this game. Because
I know what you
it's
mean.
so fucking... It's the best game ever made. It's really crazy how... I mean, how old is this game? Let me find out when this game
3
came
years,
out.
2015. Pretty sure.
It's 3 years old, and it looks better. It looks
And
better.
everything.
Better than any other game that has been released since then. It runs better than any of those games. And this world is so big, I'm still finding these crazy quests that I didn't know existed. Like, I just did this quest where I found this alchemist in this deep forest somewhere. He's just sitting there, and it's all fully voice acted. You know, there's a whole storyline to it. I have to go hunt these stupid fucking, whatever he needs, like flowers and shit, to make all these alchemy potions. But I'm like, holy shit, I never even touched that aspect of Witcher 3. I never even thought about the alchemy aspect of it. I was more just focus on combat, focus on getting cool gear. There's a whole crafting situation that's pretty cool. There's a whole alchemy situation where you can find just deep in some random cave. And again, this world is gigantic, so you're going to find shit everywhere.
One of the best mini games that you can collect everywhere.
Yeah, and I didn't even
Everywhere.
I had never really played Gwent. So I was thinking
It's
maybe
pretty
I'll
good.
start playing Gwent in this one too. There's all these different aspects that are just, it's almost like completely different games all in this one game. So I'm jumping back in it, and it feels like a brand new game. Like I haven't played it yet. And it only took me, about a half hour to get the ropes back. Remember you were talking about playing it on keyboard and mouse? Well, I didn't set up my Xbox controller with it yet, so I'm like, let me just play on keyboard and mouse. It's going to be fine. Nah, it's so bad on keyboard and mouse, man. It's so
I
fucking...
was talking about Dark Souls.
Oh, were you?
I like Witcher with keyboard mouse.
It's too difficult, dude. It's too difficult. Give me the controller. I'm fucking rolling around everywhere. But once I got back on the controller, I was like, all right, I'm back to it. Let's get back to it. And I just started right from there. And now I can jump right back into the 2 expansion packs that have been released. They just add to your quest line, and then you kind of just go from there. Yeah, I hear they're awesome.
No, they're good. And then there's other strats too, where you can power level specific ways just to go to the DLC and get the DLC first.
Oh, really?
Things like that. Yeah.
I was actually thinking
tons
of
different ways to play it.
I was thinking of just starting over completely, starting from an old save, but I just jumped back into my the one that I've been using, and yeah, it's just so it's just so fucking good, dude.
That and Novigrad's still the best city ever made.
It kind of reminds me of how Skyrim handled their DLC, where
you could just jump back into it.
You could just I played Skyrim, I think, on a new file and had all the DLC on it, and I just kind of didn't go on it. I just went off and did my own thing, didn't make a plan, and somehow found myself going through the DLC just, on a whim.
Yeah.
Because it's just added right into the quest lines and stuff.
Yeah. Well, all of it's a lot like the way Bethesda does their RPGs or most open world RPGs like that, where all it is hey, dude, here's a new quest that starts at 33.
Right.
Doesn't matter what you've done. If you can power level to 33 and not do any of the story and just go do that first if you really want.
And you can still do it. You don't have to be level 33. It's just you're probably going to get your ass kicked if you're not those levels. But that's still cool too, that they allow you to even beat them if you're under leveled.
Yeah. No, in The Witcher, until you get up to a certain power level point, you're going to get your ass kicked.
Yeah. Just the fact, if you just don't get hit, you might be able to win, but it's really hard to just not get hit. That game, I will say, that game is very focused on a linear progression. You just kind of want to go that way, where you keep getting better gear, you keep uploading your skills, you keep getting better things, and then you just keep on moving to the harder quests. It's just more fun that way.
The first 10 levels are probably definitely the hardest, though.
Yeah.
By far. Because those first 10 levels can definitely kick your ass if you're not ready for it.
It's just so fucking good, though, dude. It's just so fucking good. And like I was surprised at how good it looks.
So yeah,
I've been playing like Neo, which looks like shit, and that game came out fucking last year compared to Witcher 3. Like
Both-
not even close. Like Witcher 3 looks so much better.
I can spend hours in Novigrad and the other Brodanian city.
That's what I was just doing. I just did the Hattori Hanzo quest where he gives you that sword.
Yeah, but like you can spend hours just like chilling out in those cities. Like
And they're so
big
densely
main city-
populated.
Yeah, like no, it's a city.
Well,
Like that's the craziest part.
it's a city, but let's talk about fucking Cyberpunk now. I mean, that was the most surprising aspect to me was when he walked into the city area of the game, and then you just saw just this densely populated metropolis. Fucking ads everywhere, lights everywhere, there's noises everywhere, people having like cursing at each other. I mean, this game looks too good to be true. But you play Witcher 3 and you're like, "Oh, this actually could be done." Like they could actually do this the way we want it.
The only team that it looks like who's going to make a better city than Novigrad is it's CD Projekt Red at this point.
Yeah, I'm so fucking excited for this now.
That 45 minutes of gameplay like hit kind of everything I was looking for.
Yeah, mostly.
The driving gave you the option for first person, third person.
Yeah.
And I'm not a first person driver, so I got that. You get your sweet anybody who plays role playing games, sweet numbers. When you're shooting your gun and you're getting those numbers pop up, those are sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
just
like that
all
too.
of the systems they were showing off.
And it was a 4K. There was a 4K fucking stream,
Yeah.
which is
Like,
awesome.
I wasn't super enthralled for like the first 10-15 minutes or so. Like, but I mean that's most intro quests, things like that, like the intro system, and obviously it's not done at all, but like once they actually got into the actual meat and potatoes of the game, oh yeah, it looks fucking fantastic.
Destructive environments.
Yeah, the
true,
destructive
like,
environments.
Like especially when they unlocked more of the skills and weapons, where it's like, oh yeah, this is what I expect from CD Projekt Red.
Right.
Like tons of different crazy stupid skills and weapons that do stupid things that you're like, oh, I could do this or this or this or this, and all of them will work.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know how they do it. Like, I really have no idea how they're doing. They must have a gigantic team dedicated to just world building, because this world is fucking insane.
I mean, it's based
a
based
giant
on the
team.
pen and paper RPG, and they even said in the during the gameplay footage, like, we are trying to stay as true as possible to the source material.
Yeah.
Which I love, because pen and paper RPGs, I love D&D, so like that's my whole shtick.
Yeah, I've never really I know about the Cyberpunk world, and I know about because there's a lot of like comics that spun off from Cyberpunk and 90s movies and shit, but I don't know too much about the actual source material and the game itself. But from what it looks like and from the vibe that you get from the comics and those 90s movies, it does feel like they're doing a good job to it, because I saw someone on IGN, or it might have been GameSpot, where they were like, why are they, trying to do this weird sort of super edgy cursing thing? And it's like, that's Cyberpunk though. Like, it's like, hey, fuckhead. You know what I mean?
That's also them
Come
as a
suck
studio.
my dick, fuckhead.
Yeah, like that's them as a, like, go play The Witcher 3. That's them as a studio.
Yeah, it's like it's
they
part
do,
of part of the world,
Yeah, they like those really greedy storylines.
Go back and watch Akira.
Right.
Like, watch the anime Akira from the 80s. You'll understand Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking that entire time though that it's not Cyberpunk 2077. It's like Cyberpunk 2085.
I just can't wait to see I just, for the love, they said that you can ride motorcycles, and the first thing I thought of when they said that was, give me the motorcycle from Akira. Someone find a way to put that in there.
Well, here is like some of the gameplay where you find the dead android, like naked dead androids in the tub, and like this is the kind of stuff that like I want to see. Like I want to see like some real hardcore quests. And anyone who plays Witcher 3, like it's not really even about the main quest. They do side quests so well. So when they see that this game, which has this gigantic open city world, densely populated, and then they're gonna add on like their quintessential CD Projekt Red quest system. Like, how big are they actually making this game? It almost seems too good to be true. But then again, you think it's CD Projekt Red, they can probably do it.
I mean, also to like, for their level of grittiness and edginess, like for like Witcher 3, you know, there was storylines and quests where like whatever you did affected the end, obviously, but like the end was okay, either old boy kills a bunch of people, or old boy commits suicide, or old boy gets taken over and the guy who takes over is even worse. Like none of them are happy endings at all.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. And then I tell you what, this looks nothing like Witcher just from looking at it.
No.
I mean, it looks a lot more like Deus Ex, which is cool.
I'm really interested to see how Melee's going to go. And if they can do Melee.
I don't know.
Like,
that might just be like a...
I know, but like, come on, dude. Give me a sword.
I know. I know. You want to play... You want that...
A cyber katana.
You want that Witcher 3 combat, but that's the thing. It's just a first-person shooter. It's like you get bullets that kind of swing around corners. I saw one guy saying, like, this actually looks kind of easy. Like, all these skills that they're giving this guy,
some of them
they're just kind of, like, wiping out all of these dudes. But...
I think that's also end game.
This is also just an hour into the game.
They said that this was the beginning of the game, but it's also the demo.
Yeah.
They also said like they went the passive route with trying to, you know, get like they even said it. If you try to just bust in this place, it's gonna be a lot harder.
Well, they did that too, but like
They
the
went the
end.
easy way.
Well, no, they did that, but the end when I think most people are complaining it looks easy. They also said, hey, okay, we're unlocking a bunch of high-level abilities in the level 2 zone.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's going to be easy.
Okay, so they're just showing some shit off then.
Right. No, that last 10 minutes, they did say, like, no, we're basically just showing everything off that we've been playing.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, you got that shit at the beginning and you just started blowing through
Doesn't-
people.
It does not sound like it. That sounds like half of the stuff they were showing off at the end was, like, you know, level 30, 40 kind of things.
Yeah. I'm just so fucking excited for this game. I think they need to chill with the hype, though.
Yeah.
Just chill with the hype. I mean, we're
It's
still
not
like...
gonna come out anytime soon.
Yeah, we're still like 2 years away from a release.
This is going to be on the PlayStation whatever's after the Pro and whatever Microsoft comes out with after the Xbox One X. That's what these are going to play on. They might play on the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X.
I don't know,
But
man.
you're going to want to play them on, if you're going to play on console at all, you're going to want to play them on the next batch of systems.
It'll definitely not look like this. It'll definitely not look like this if you're playing on PS4 at all.
The minimum rec will be a 1080.
No, because like the CD Projekt Red's always done a good job of optimization. So yeah, they'll still play on those consoles. Like I guarantee, Witcher 3 had an Xbox 360 version.
Yeah.
Like
Do you remember though?
It looked like
I was gonna say, how did it look, and what was the frame rate on it?
Yeah.
No, the frame rate was great. It just looked
Okay.
it looked terrible,
Yeah.
and that's what I expect.
There
But
was
you
a
still
whole
get to play it.
controversy with Witcher 3. I don't know if you guys remember, but when it came out, there was a console downgrade, and everyone was like, "What the fuck? This isn't looking like what PC gets. Like you're downgrading the console version." And they were like, "Yeah, no shit,
they
we
had
have
to.
to."
Yeah, because PC is better.
You fucking idiots.
When are they gonna put on? When are they gonna put Witcher 3 on the Switch?
Never.
That's the
That
deal.
one- that
That'll
one
be
might
when
be-
Doobie plays it.
That might actually be impossible.
Yeah, that one that's pushing it though.
You know, if they did, I would play it.
I'm just like I'm watching the gameplay.
I would hate you so much.
I'm watching the gameplay again, and it's just like it just looks so insane. It's crazy the amount of work that they can get done in this little studio. Because from what I know, they're not a very big studio.
No, like I think
It's not like EA.
they're good size, but yeah, no, they're not. Yeah, no, they're not that big of a studio.
They're
and
like right between
I-
indie. You know what I mean? They're like right between like AAA and indie. They're like just a normal fucking run of the mill studio. But
and
they
have the
make
best artists.
they make
hands
the
down.
craziest fucking games. So
And-
I'm excited. They have a lot to live up to, though. Witcher 3
Yeah.
is going to be hard to impress. Like, I think people are excited because everyone who's played Witcher 3, they're like, all right, we got another CD Projekt Red game coming out. This looks fucking crazy. It's Cyberpunk. It's first person. Here's the gameplay demo. But if they don't live up to it, it's gonna hurt them a little bit. And I
just
think
want
they
them to
will.
hire the same composer. Please outsource the same composer as The Witcher 3.
No, I
That's
think
still,
they're
like,
gonna
the
need to get a
best
different
soundtrack.
guy though, 'cause it's got
Probably,
that
but
whole
like
chip
you gotta
team
get him
wave.
that skill level.
Oh, I'm sure
You know
they
what I
will.
mean? Because that was part of what made that game too. Is like the soundtrack for that game is phenomenal.
Yeah.
But like I don't know, a lot of the systems that they do have in it so far look really cool.
Yeah.
I really like the fact that you can like walk around. It's still CD Projekt Red. You can still choose to do things or not, but things still look time based.
Yeah.
So there are consequences to choosing to do things or not, which that I really enjoy.
And the car chase scene just looks insane. It looks insane. And I think they are running this RTX. I really think so. There's a lot of reflection based and shadow based things that I just can't see him doing it without it.
I still don't think so. I don't think so, dude. Like CD Projekt Red are masters. I'm not saying that. They're probably the best artists in the gaming world currently. If everyone else is struggling to hit 30 frames at 1080 and they just stream this at 4K, get the fuck out of here.
I mean, it would
Not
make
that
sense
much,
though.
They're not that much fucking better than everyone else.
It does make sense though, because if it's 2 years down the line, it could be
Yes,
on. It
but
could
they
be
already
using
have-
RTX.
They already have this much playable with current. No, if the current technology is everyone's getting 30 frames at 1080, they just hack together 6 of them for a stream. Like that's a little I don't know. Maybe, but
I'm interested. I wonder. Hopefully, Digital Foundry does a video. They'll let us know. They're
Yeah,
fucking
well, 'cause,
masters
like,
at that.
I've seen conflicting things about that too, because I have seen people taking screenshots and things like that and going like, oh, this is proof that it's RTX, and half of them have been faked
Oh, really?
and proven that they those screenshots were faked. So I don't know.
It's just like the way that the RTX kind of does their reflection mapping and their shadows.
I
It
haven't seen
does
the
look similar.
No, all the shadows and the lighting looks like RTX
Yeah.
to me. Totally. I didn't see the reflections though.
You'll notice
That's
it
what
if
messed
you
me
watch it again. You'll see there's stuff that kind of flies overhead, and you'll see the shadows and the puddles, which could be render based, but
Yeah, that could still just be God rays to me. I more mean the reflections Battlefield, you saw.
no, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah, I didn't really see that too much. Maybe a little bit, but not a lot of it. Versus where some of the scenes were okay, the deck scene in the car, when the light is hitting his jacket, things like that, it looks gorgeous. But you look at the chair or somewhere where a reflection should be, there's nothing. So that's what was throwing me off the most. Because when he's moving into the light, it's dude, it's one of the most best rendered things I've ever seen in my life. So what I think could be possible too is they could be working in RTX type stuff for cutscenes. That's what could also be.
Maybe, or maybe just certain textures get RTX sort of
Yeah.
reflection maps, and some don't, which would make sense.
Because I could
to
see them
optimize.
doing that too. Yeah.
But it looks fucking crazy. Whatever they're using,
Oh,
they're
it's
using a hardcore machine, because they're running
yeah.
this. They're streaming this at 4K, and it's fucking flawless.
Oh no, this
Which
is
is
multiple
crazy.
machines, definitely.
It looks great.
This is 2 of those. They already have the $10,000 RTX cards, and put 1 and 2 machines, and there's your streaming PC.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks fucking phenomenal. I can't wait to see more. It sucks we gotta wait so fucking long for it. But before you know it, it'll be here. Plus, we got Red Dead coming this year. Man, we got games coming out the wazoo. All right, moving on. Madden
Way more
shooting.
Okay, never mind.
Time to get a little dark here. 3 dead, including shooter in Jacksonville Madden tournament shooting. This is really big news. I was on Reddit, and then all of a sudden I saw reports popping up. There was a shooting. There was a shooting at a Madden tournament. There was a shooting. It seems to be this guy. there was a shooting. It seems to be a player, and finally all the news came out. Essentially, this guy, I don't know his fucking name, but he was a player in the tournament, lost in the first round, left, came back with a pistol, and shot everyone. Injured a bunch of people, killed 3, and then ended up killing himself, and injured 11 people. One of them was a big Madden player, ended up getting hit in the thumb. Thankfully, he wasn't taken. But one of the craziest videos that came from this was that stream that was being passed around on Twitch, where you saw this laser sort of fall onto the player right before the shooting happened, and then find out that person died. Really sad.
I'm just gonna say is I heard the video, like I saw the video, and right when that red sight happened, and then the webcam. Thank God the webcam kind of shut off, because else that'd just be video evidence of a shooting. Because literally, right as soon as that video, the webcam dies, you just start hearing gunshots, and it is probably one of the most horrific audio clips.
Yeah.
I've ever listened to, and I'm never gonna be able to get it out of my memory.
Yeah, it's pretty
bad. That's why I haven't watched it.
Yeah.
No, if you can avoid watching it.
Dude, no, I go to small lands every now and then. I'm not fucking watching that.
Well, that was
not to throw up.
That was one of the criticisms that have come out of this. Is like there's a lot of competitive players coming out saying, "Hey, there's not much security that goes on at these conventions." And
well, mainly, it's not a convention. That's what's been bugging me.
Well, I didn't mean to say convention.
Yeah,
but
it's brought up the bigger story. This was not at a big tournament.
This is just like a small thrown together thing.
But it got other people talking about their experiences at big events that don't have security or have lax security.
No, because
which is even more of worrisome.
In big esports events, this has been a talking point, especially from a lot of talent. That no, there is not enough security at larger esport events. That is totally true. But like what bugs me is like, no, this is, I've been to like 6 of these in my life. This is, your Friday night fights of like 30 to 50 people at your local LAN cafe.
This is your Saturday Melee tournament or Smash Brothers 4 tournament that's held in the mall. Not even in a store. It's held in like a wing of the mall that people set up TVs at.
Well, no, it's an actual store.
You know what I mean, though. This is a local. It's a friendly. It's a small tournament.
Well, it's that because it's
you don't expect there to be armed guards or metal detectors at these things.
No, I mean it's just it's one of those places where a lot of big cities have them. A lot of even medium-sized cities have them nowadays. It's like, okay, it's a LAN cafe. You got 20. You got a row 20 computers. You got about 8 big screen TVs and all the consoles. You can go. You can pay $2 an hour. Philly
as Nerd Street Gamers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's tons of them. Yeah, no, I know. I was gonna say the reason why I have
right there.
The reason why I have my mouse pad is because of Fragadelphia. At Nerd Street. Yeah, like I love these little local small lands that like don't draw a lot of people because it is a lot of community based, and sometimes you do get bigger. You can draw people out from farther areas. Because part of the funding structure to even be able to do this is to put on small $1,000 sanctioned tournaments, things like that.
Yeah,
and that's where this gets terrifying to me.
And that's the thing too.
These happen every other day all over the world.
And that's the thing too. It's like in this country, I'm not trying to get political or anything, but in this country, if we're not going to decide on completely arming the public and completely stepping up security, where we're arming security guards at schools.
Arm the public. You don't completely arm the public. That's not the solution.
Then this is gonna happen.
I am vehemently against the idea that if everyone had a gun, no one would shoot anybody. Because here's the realization. Here's the real truth.
No one's saying no one's gonna shoot anyone.
No, what I'm saying is I've seen this argument a lot on Twitter, and it's kind of pissed me off to the point where I see like, oh, he wouldn't have shot anybody if he knew other people had a gun. And here's the thing, is a lot of these shooters take their own lives. They don't care about getting shot. That's not going to stop anybody. And in a real life situation, if everybody had a gun, you hear somebody shoot a gun, you pull out your gun, and then somebody else pulls out their gun. Who knows who's the real shooter? It's just going to be people shooting people who are shooting people because they shot people. It's a massive confusion. And if anybody literally believes that everyone should have a gun,
but this is what I'm
and
saying.
that would stop this, that's just wrong.
You're not listening. This is what I'm saying is that there needs to be a decision made that we either step up security in all areas, whether it's at these lands or they're at their schools, they're at the fucking mall, all areas. We are going to have to put it on the onus of the business owners to step up security to a maximum level. We arm everyone, or we try to get rid of weapons. Because if we don't, if we continue like this is just going to continue to happen. There's just too many arms being pushed around this country.
Yeah. I'm tired of having this conversation every other week as an American. I'm sticking out of it at this point. All I'm saying is I'm going to repeat the Onion headline that we're the only fucking country this happens every day.
Yeah, and there's a reason, you know? It's just it's almost become part of the culture. And there's just no one wants to come up with any sort of solution.
We should not settle for, this is just how it is.
Whatever we're doing now is not working, is the problem.
If that means we need to experiment by taking away all the guns, then at this point, what's the worst that can happen? Because it's just only going to get worse from here.
And it's like, how do you even take away all the guns? Who gets the guns? Does only the police get guns?
And there's the black market, of course. And that's the thing is this guy, a couple things that bother me here. One, he's from Baltimore in Florida. I don't know how he got access to the gun. I don't know if he brought the gun with him. I don't know if that was premeditated. It had a red sight.
There's guns everywhere.
That's pretty horrible. He had a history of mental health issues.
You go to Walmart, you can get a red sight. You know?
Yeah.
He's a sick kid.
It totally seems that is that just the idea that mind you, I live in Jersey where gun laws are pretty strict. Yeah. So I can't walk into a Walmart and just buy a gun.
No. But you can own a gun. You can own as many guns as you want. It's just kind of restricts you on where you can take them. And luckily Jersey is at least in the suburbs and in more rural areas of Jersey, the gun violence isn't that bad. But then you go up to Newark and you go up to Trenton and you go up to Camden and gun violence is through the fucking roof, Yeah. And it's there's just they're trying to regulate firearms just is not working. Anyone can get a gun anywhere, It needs to be. We need to really make a decision in this country. Are we going to have guns or not? Because if we are, then everyone needs to think about their own safety and everyone needs to think about arming themselves. All these states need to stop this wishy-washy kind of bullshit. If you're going to allow your citizens to own guns, then let them go buy them anywhere they want. If not, then you need to make that decision. You need to make it really difficult for anyone to get a gun.
I feel Otherwise, like everybody owning a gun is how we get Cyberpunk 2077.
It's happening, dude.
Just everyone on the street. Just everybody is packing heat.
It's happening, man. I don't know, but it's scary because
you then couple that with stand your ground laws, and you just got a lot of dead people on your hands.
I don't know. I don't think so because I personally think people are inherently good, and you're just gonna happen to get these sick people that, and maybe he's not terribly sick. He has triggers and he has access to firearms. You
and say people are inherently good, but people also inherently make bad decisions, even though they're good people.
Well, killing someone is it's not a bad decision. That's a complete, if you're just someone that's a bad person and you ended up flipping that switch and you're killing someone, something that you know what I mean? That's just something that is just, it's almost like divine. It's like there's a certain level of sickness in your brain if you end up just going to kill, especially in a mass setting. It's not premeditated. You just something shorts in your brain and then you end up just taking a gun to everyone. That's a rare situation that happens. But the gun violence, it doesn't seem like it. But
when you keep hearing about how all these people have failed mental health, like have been in, in institutions or have mental health issues.
That's a large number of the population.
But these kind of shootings are, quite rare compared to just regular gun violence, regular gang violence. That's really where a lot of people are dying. That's really where, here in Philadelphia, it's still bad. The numbers have been going down, but it's still not where it used to be.
It's pretty much terrible everywhere.
And in my opinion, I think it's because there's no decision being made. What are we gonna do about these fucking guns? You can't just do what we're doing now because the wrong people keep getting guns.
We can't decide on anything right now, so.
No, we
And the
can't.
people that, I mean, and a lot of it, I don't want to say all of it, but a lot of it does come down to money, to lobbyists, to, the NRA is not a very large group, but they are extremely vocal.
And very Russian.
That would, that helps them too. And they gave that whole, I mean, I'm going to get into it all, but I remember they were given that whole, like, we're running out of money. Please help support us. We're running out of money. We're not going to be able to function. That's just a straight lie.
I personally believe the NRA, though, isn't changing anyone's minds. They're not getting people to buy guns. You're either going to get a gun if you want a gun or you're not. Like Kate, for instance, she's just never going to get a gun. She hates them. She's scared of them.
I'm not saying that they're convincing people to get guns, but they're making it very difficult to change the laws.
They are, yeah.
Sure.
I mean, any large lobbyist.
A very small group is making it hard to protect the majority of the United States.
Sure, but still, at the end of the day, man, it's whose votes are being cast, and
it doesn't matter if it's the current political system of lobbyists wins everything. Your vote means shit. It's what your money goes to.
Yeah, well,
so
I mean,
money, that's what's going to go to.
I would disagree. You have the option to vote in who you want to represent you in your country or you in your state, and it seems like more sort of southern states are more pro-gun. They have different values than those up north, and that just kind of goes to show like where the wishy-washiness of the gun debate in the country, because we can't make a decision. It needs to be a federal decision. Everyone needs to get on board. Like in the UK, they said no guns. No police can have guns. They can't walk around with machine guns. Only select security members in the forces can carry weapons, and they're usually guarding embassies and stuff like that. But any cop on the street, they're not carrying a firearm, and that's a decision that they made.
No civilian really has any need for a fully automatic weapon or an Uzi.
I mean, you say that though. This is where I say like you say that, but like I see a lot of people say that, and then they're afraid of like the Trump administration taking over the country. Then you're gonna want your guns. You know what I mean?
No.
Then you're gonna want your firearms.
And that brings it to the whole Second Amendment. Our forefathers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why are we on politics?
A gun in the 1700s took about 5 to 10 minutes to reload and could maybe kill one person at a time. Instead of
Yeah, but that doesn't take away from the fact that the police still own
10 minutes.
The police and the military still own M16s, and they own fighter jets, and they own tanks. You're gonna want it armed some way.
Your Uzi's gonna stop it.
Does anybody honestly think we're going to need to revolt?
No.
Like we're already so far in this thing.
Yeah, but you don't want to. You can't say that.
Warfare is how it's gonna be fought.
Yeah, but you can't say that. You know what I mean? That's something that you just don't know until it happens. And then you're going to want to be able, you're going to wish that someone was like, hey, maybe you should be able to pick up any sort of gun you want. I'm just
saying, if you're going to revolt against the government.
And I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm not saying that you're wrong on I mean, these are the values that you hold. You're more along the lines that no one should have weapons. Get them out of the police hands. Get them out of the community members' hands. Make sure that no one has...
They're going to murder. And just make it harder for them to murder.
Yeah. I'm a little bit on the other side. I think that, I think we should arm it up. If this place was armed, would he be able to kill those 4 people? Would it only be one himself?
No, it'd probably be 17. But I don't want to keep talking about.
And if he wasn't able to be armed at all,
only country in the world.
It's not a black and white. It's not a simple issue. That's for damn certain.
It sucks too because it's like there was a lot of talk on Twitter like how did this happen to the gaming tournament? It's like this happens in schools. Happens everywhere. This happened in an elementary school.
Yeah, it happens in churches.
There's this denial. There's this denial that these shootings only happen in these weird. It's like they happen everywhere. All the time. They happen in supermarkets. They happen in libraries.
It's the people coming out about this one saying, this only happened because the gaming communities allow these platforms for people to be, whatever there be, incels or races, as if, not every community, like as if no community doesn't have all of that. Every community has its own set of bad eggs.
Yeah.
But to try to put any blaming on the gaming community, let's be honest. This is a guy that had mental issues. Let's say his passion was poker and he was in Vegas. He probably would have shot up somebody in Vegas.
Yeah.
It's not because he was part of the gaming community. And it's not even my favorite part. It was not favorite because it's nothing's favorite. But the craziest part is it's not even Call of Duty or something. They were playing Madden.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like, what if this was like GTA 5?
Then you could be getting. I mean, all the politicians are already going to start.
This would be a completely different debate.
Why video games need to be banned.
Yeah. Actually, thank God it was Madden. Thank God it was a fucking football game. They really have no onus to say like it was
Imagine
the
if
game
it was
that,
a Crossy Roads tournament.
or it was like Doom or something. You know, Crossy Roads tournament.
I mean, they've already tried coming out and saying that like these shooting games train our youth to become killing machines.
No,
Have you ever been to Saginaw, Detroit, Flint?
no.
You know, there's places where this is like a 70-year issue. It wasn't the video games.
And they try to blame movies, music, games as if we're the only country that has access to those things.
Yeah, well, really, the only people blaming that stuff are just politicians looking to get votes. You know, anyone at our age, anyone even near our age, doesn't really believe that. I truly believe that. You know, maybe certain religious groups might think that, but you know, any sort of like just.
The last thing I'm
normal-
going to say on politics is until the term limits are established.
This isn't really a political debate either.
No. But the only thing I will say is until term limits are established for our Congress, where they can't just sit in office their entire life, you know, just getting 8 to 12 years max, none of this is going to be solved because the only thing they care about as soon as they get elected is how to get reelected and how to say what they need to say for their delegates to revote.
House is the most useless thing I've ever heard of in my life at this point.
Yeah, it's gonna keep
that-
happening.
the House of Representatives is absolutely.
But at the same time, I don't want the United States to straight up become like Australia, which is, you know, yeah, they ban guns and yeah, their gun, you know, their violence is down, but they're also such a nanny state.
Yeah.
It's so bad. Like, video games have to be censored like crazy over there.
I mean, look at the whole nicotine thing. You know, dealing with that in vaping. I mean, it's just they tell you what to do all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, that's the part of like when you give up a lot of your security, or you give up, or when you gain a lot of security, you give up a lot of your freedom. And is it worth it? You know, it's like, how do you figure this out? It's just gonna keep happening. You know, and it's just unless we change the actual culture of thought and culture of how to succeed in this country, then there's really no way that I can ever see this being solved. Because this kid, like, he wanted to win this tournament so bad, and then he lost, and something snapped in his brain. That means there's a deep sort of psychological state that he had attached to this game, or to the succession of his life with this game. You know, he was also young, and he won previous years, like larger tournaments in Madden. So his identity his whole identities are wrapped around like being that top gamer, you know, and that whole capitalist mentality of just being the best.
If you're not first, you're last.
And then he loses, and at this small tournament, and he ends up shooting these people up. And it's like
he didn't get a trophy that said, you know, you came in last place.
Yeah, and you know, if he didn't have access to weapons, would he kind of do this in a different way? We won't know. We won't know, but all we know is there's a culture of violence in this. We can figure out the answer to that question. We just got to go to Reddit, because the guy that was apparently supposedly I saw that
the killer is actually still alive and still active on Reddit, so we should ask him.
I saw that. Yeah, there was a lot of like don't ever when anything like this happens, don't take any of it as gospel. Just wait.
There was the one guy who they tried identifying that it was him who did the shooting first, and then it wasn't him.
Yeah, he said something like, "I feel I'm in the mood to kill today" because he lost the tournament.
And then when all of the people that like found out this guy's real name started like searching for him on Twitter, and there were like a couple people that weren't him, and they were just getting threats.
Yeah, I mean, imagine
having the first name of somebody.
Didn't that happen on Reddit before with the Boston bombing? They thought that one person was the
group who misidentified him or the Reddit account at least this time, I think they've tried identifying people 6 times over the last 4 months, and like 4 of the 6 were wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you're
But hey,
betting,
60,000 people still share this every single time and think it's gospel.
Yeah.
that's the problem with the pack mentality in the internet.
I'm kind of getting sick of Reddit anyway. That
I
that
pretty much-
website has
That
it's
was a
just-
Reddit. That was a specific part of Reddit, if you catch my
And then Twitter. Twitter doesn't help either.
Yeah, I'm getting sick of Reddit.
Social media in general is just a pack mentality, ready to pounce on anything.
social media and
I
people
love
who-
social media too, though.
bloggers who think they know what they're talking about.
Yeah. All right, moving on. The Nindies. We got more Nindies coming. Any good ones, Doobie? I haven't seen it.
Hyperlight Drifter comes out, I believe.
Oh, I played that. That's a good
from
one.
now. That comes out on the 6th. Undertale comes out in the middle of September. I think like the 18th.
By the way, it's so
That's a really good one.
it's so fucking hot here. I'm like
Yeah.
dying.
Yeah,
All
so,
along the east. Yeah.
Undertale is really good. That's a solid game that you should pick up. There's a bunch of new ones.
It's also
I
been
haven't
long
heard of.
enough that Undertale's good to play again.
Yeah, as long as you just
I've
don't
never
stream
played
it,
Undertale.
the community sucks. The people
Like it's been enough time that it's going to be hard for someone to like accidentally ruin it for you. So definitely pick it up if you haven't played it.
Yeah, I have no idea what it's about. I know it's like super 8-bit looking. That's all I know.
they did a lot of co-op games.
I hear it's
and
good.
a lot of games with versus modes like Towerfall, Treasure Stack,
Lame. Lame.
Minico's and Night Market, which really gives me this like Animal Crossing kind of feel to it. So I guess there's that while you wait for Animal Crossing.
There's King of the Hat.
That was interesting.
I mean,
These are, like,
these are the kind of games that's just like
games, but
you could pass on these. Leave them on the Steam store.
King of the Cat.
Untitled Goose Game does actually kind of look hilarious. I do kind of want to try this thing. You just play as a goose and you just annoy people. I never thought I would say that.
It's kind of like the goat one.
Yeah,
Goat
kind of.
Simulator.
The people that made Faster Than Light made this Into the Breach, which actually came out today. That was their stealth release. They always do that. They always have like a
Rated
available
everyone
now,
10 and up.
when they do these things. So Into the Breach was one, and it's a like a top-down isometric strategy RPG. But from what I've been told from other people, is it's also kind of a puzzle game as well. So that one's might be worth checking out if you like tactics and you like strategy games. The Messenger comes out in 2 days. This is that game that was reminiscent of like Ninja Gaiden. And from everything I've seen and all the reviews, a lot of people are saying this is like one of the best indie games of this year.
Yeah, I hear
So
it's good.
I am thinking I'm definitely gonna try to pick this up. It's like Ninja Gaiden meets Metroidvania, and those are two things I definitely enjoy. Bastion, if you haven't played Bastion by now, it's worth getting when it comes out September 13th. Supergiant Games does that. They also do Transistor, which is coming out in November. That is also, I can recommend those games easily. They are fantastic games. You get a Sword and Sorcery game, which is interesting. It's kind of like a point and click game using the Joy-Con. October is the Jackbox Party Pack. That'll be for like everything. That's not a Switch exclusive. Have you guys ever played? You guys have played Jackbox, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So this one, I'm really looking forward to this one a lot because it's bringing back the classic "You Don't Know Jack" trivia game, and I love trivia. So if you've never played the old school like "You Don't Know Jack," this supports up to 8 players now, and they're essentially like puns, like questions with puns. Like if I think one of their examples was like if Chance the Rapper was was working in percentages, and then they give like a list of things like what would he be called, and they're all puns, but one of them is the right answer, of course. So if you like trivia and you like puns, that's worth picking up. And other than that, there's a couple other things coming out next year. Nothing that I know too well, but I think between this announcement and the European one they did the other week, I think that's like 40 games, indie games they've announced.
So many.
It's this like indie, like this is the indie. It's just the indie platform. and it's there's nothing wrong with that. It's fantastic.
There is though, because there's no real way to like find the one that you want. Like
And they're not fully priced at $60. So if you buy a $10 game and it isn't all that you wanted it to be, it's a lot better than buying a $60 game and being disappointed.
I just wish
Which
that
I have done plenty.
I just wish the Switch was just better at showing you games on their store. Their store's terrible.
Yeah, the UI needs an upgrade terribly.
Do you think we're ever gonna get one?
No.
It's like, why are you gonna fucking talk about Miniko's Night Market?
They just announced an app on the Switch for reading comics, like through like a subscription service, and yet we still don't have Netflix.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
So until we get Netflix, I can't really talk about the UI of that system.
All right, let's move on. Let's skip a couple of these. We'll go to this one. Pokemon is now the highest grossing media franchise in history.
It's pretty crazy when you think about it. I mean, what are they?
It has grossed over 59 billion since it began as a humble set of games in Japan back in 1996. 10 billion more than the Hello Kitty franchise, which is second on the list at 50 billion. And then Star Wars was on third on the list.
I was surprised that Hello Kitty was number 2.
Yeah, me too. Over Star Wars for sure. I'm not surprised it makes a lot of money, but I am surprised it's number 2. I mean, what is Hello Kitty? Is it like a video game or a movie or something?
It was like a cartoon they made in the 70s.
It's everything.
It's been around since the 70s, and now it's like a cultural icon in Japan.
Yeah. It's more just icon status. Like it's the top grossing because there's everything. Like literally on everything. You can buy a Hello Kitty car. You can buy
my roommate in college had a toaster. Had a Hello Kitty toaster.
Easy bake oven.
And it popped the bread out. It would have a Hello Kitty face on your toast.
You could buy a Hello Kitty AR-15 if you needed to arm yourself.
Literally everything. I'm not kidding about that.
It's just a Hello Kitty red dot sight.
So it's like the Playboy Bunny sort of thing.
Yeah, like it was the.
And when you look at recognition, like you can show anybody Hello Kitty and they will know what it is.
Yeah.
You know, it's just one of those instantly recognizable brands.
I was just asking because, like, I know Pokemon's a game. Like, that's where people... And a cartoon. That's kind of where people know it from.
They're on 20-plus seasons of the anime. They've made, like, 19 movies.
And Star Wars is a movie franchise. There's games franchise around it. But Hello Kitty, it's like... Are people reading Hello Kitty books? Like, what gets them excited about Hello Kitty?
There might be a manga. I don't know.
It's a cute cat, and apparently it's a kawaii lifestyle. The
kawaii lifestyle?
I do get like a sense of joy when I see it.
Exactly. Like that's a lot of it. There was back on tech when we talked about a lot of the Facebook stuff coming out and how groups were using likes to determine like kind of how you decide personality wise. A big factor in that was actually Hello Kitty. That was like one of their calling cards of placing you or like like triggers, whatever.
Interesting.
Like it was a huge icon for a long time.
Star guy, you gotta get yourself a Hello Kitty tattoo.
I mean, it's like not a bad logo either. I mean,
no, like graphic design wise, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty cute. It makes me happy.
It's simple and instantly recognizable. That's what you want.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's that fucking.
It's
big.
like up there with like the Disney, like the ears.
And it's exactly.
Recognize that immediately.
It's bigger. Well, at least it makes more money than that.
But it's bold. It's bold, so you instantly recognize it. But it's simplistic enough to be able to repeat everywhere, easily.
Let's see who the CEO is.
It's just like the Star Wars font. You know, that's not to say Star Wars, but you instantly recognize that font.
Shintaro Suji. Shintaro Suji is the CEO, 85-year-old founder and CEO of Sanrio. He was just revealed to be worth more than $1 billion by the crew over at Bloomberg on September 12th, 2013. There you go.
It's got to make him one of the richest people.
Oh, it's also a public company? You can buy stock in Hello Kitty?
I mean, they make games.
Yeah, you can. Sanrio Company Limited. Not bad.
Gotta get that Hello Kitty Island adventure.
It's grown since since I guess being placed on the list. All right, cool. Moving
Yeah, I
on.
thought that was interesting.
Now you can also learn how to dance like Fortnite and teaching classes, which is,
We have to have some comedy after earlier.
I mean, that makes
It's hilarious to me.
no sense. Here we go. Here's a little Twitter video of it.
My favorite
Fortnite
was the
dance
caption.
class at fucking backpack kid. They're
I
all
love the-
little white kids, of course.
I love the captions. Like, the world should have ended in 2012 like it was supposed to.
This is crazy. Well, there you go. You want to learn
I
how
learned how to
dance
do the
like Fortnite.
floss.
And what is
Listen,
this?
I have
Oh, the
I have
riot.
no rhythm, so
All right, so here's some follow-up story on the Riot Games drama that's been going on. Jerry, you want to take this story?
Yeah, sorry, I was muted there. God, dude, the Riot shit show just keeps happening and
So
happening.
who's this guy on the screen here?
He was Barry Hawkins. Okay, he was a higher up at Riot for 2013 and 2014 on programming, specifically like agile style programming. So he was like a head up as far as I know for that. But basically he enjoyed his job for, it sounds like 6 months in this long blog post, because he made a long blog post and kind of a follow-up to all of the less than savory press Riot's been having lately regarding sexism and workplace culture. So he wrote basically just a long overview of what happened to him in his year of working for Riot. And basically by the end of that 1 year, he ended up quitting entirely, mostly because of the workplace culture.
Yeah, it's not much time.
Nah, like the basis of the blog post is like him just having like finally something happen where he's like, oh, this is it. Okay, this is what I'm probably going to get fired over. And then he ended up leaving. He wasn't ever going to get fired, I don't think. But because he didn't fit into the workplace culture, he knew he wasn't going to like go anywhere or really enjoy working there. But yeah, in 2013, the two CEOs of Riot decided to hold a workplace convention in the Dominican Republic. You know, just have a nice work meeting, nice retreat with all of the managers and specifically the hiring talent acquisition managers to kind of decide what this is the type of people that we want to hire. This is how, you know, things we should think about when hiring future employees. Apparently the CEO just like how the fuck do you you can't even make this shit up. The CEO pretty much apparently is, at this meeting decided to give, you know, the big speech to kick off the meeting. Went up there in a shirt that just said "just the tip" because he's edgy, and decided that their tagline for the hiring process was "No doesn't necessarily mean no."
Which like doesn't really even make much sense.
I mean, I get what he's trying to say, but no, with that wording, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's fucking terrible wording.
Yeah.
Like, he's just doing this for a joke, which is a terrible fucking joke if you're a CEO of a massive company.
Yeah, this is
You're
a
like,
massive company.
This is what we're going to be trying to hire, guys. We're going to use a rape joke. Yeah.
Yeah, not very smart.
No, because like,
But how did they even continue after that? Like, how did none of this really get out until now?
dude, it sounds like
How is the CEO
you're
still
either
the
in
CEO?
You're either in that culture or you're afraid to say anything about that culture, is what it sounds like. I'm not even entirely sure.
You'd figure something would get out to the press.
I think things have, but most people didn't listen.
Hmm.
Because the reason why I feel vindicated, I feel vindicated about all of this stuff coming out about Riot, because I've thought for probably about 4 years that Riot is a shithole of a company, and that's mostly because of a couple of reporters that I trust. I don't think they're necessarily the most stand up of human beings themselves, especially when dealing with people, these reporters. And as for those reasons, they were, I mean, in a lot of ways, they were basically forced to never be able to talk about Riot or League of Legends. Subreddits were banning them, things like that. If they tried to mention anything about a story, like for a while, it seemed like the League of Legends subreddit was kind of corrupt and would just like instantly shoot down anything bad. So like you had to kind of go out of your way. And the main reason why I know about it is because of those, like mostly one guy, but a couple of reporters who, like I said, they're not the cleanest acts by any means, but when it comes to their actual reporting, they're probably some of the best in the esports industry. Like pretty much almost always accurate. Like they're the type of people who,
Well, now like this
they're
stuff's
not
out.
yeah, they're not the cleanest, but like almost everything they kind of reported on things sort of like this and said other shitty things that happened, that it's like now it's taken 4 years and you're like, oh yeah, now everyone's finally realizing that no, they were telling the truth for about 4 years.
And now that this is out, you'd think like that CEO would be ousted. But we haven't heard anything about it yet. He seems like he's still CEO.
Yeah, no, dude, it's Riot. Dude, there's so many people that will just give Riot the benefit of the doubt. I think that opinion's finally changing, thankfully. But yeah, I think this is going to take either time or a massive change in culture to actually be able to push those guys out. Or since Riot, a couple of years ago, Riot sold to Tencent. So the easiest way for this to change is someone at Tencent finally realizing how much this is hurting their game and PR to force a change. That's probably would be the easiest way to see a change there.
It's also now it's starting to get picked up by some bigger news outlets, so maybe that'll help.
Yeah, because I mean, like that like some of like what this guy's blog post is too is like it's just kind of saying that a lot of those reports we've been hearing about, if they're not completely accurate, definitely have a lot of truth to them, and are probably mostly pretty accurate.
Yeah,
I would think.
And that
like,
it wasn't just that. There's a couple other things that he brought up too in this post.
Oh yeah, there was times where apparently people were just farting in each other's faces because that's what you do at a professional company. Excuse me, edgy company. That's been all of my edgy jokes today for the listeners. Because when you think of Riot, you think edgy company.
Yeah.
You really don't. But apparently, a lot of their reasoning behind a lot of this was they wanted to keep their status as an edgy company. And I
doesn't really
don't
make
get
much
that
sense
at all. No, like this is a company that like had someone made a character and it had a cigar in its mouth and they removed the cigar. And they're trying to they're an edgy company. Like, what are you even talking about?
I don't know.
Like,
And like League of Legends is a fucking shitty game. I hate that game.
it is, but it's a lot. Why I think a lot of people are getting mad too is like the double standard between like some higher ups at Riot versus how they treat their customers, so to say. Like their customers can't be toxic in any way, like any way at all. But apparently high ups at Riot, they just start playing the game and go like, oh yeah, the other team raped us because our mid kept jungling. Just tons of shit. Like, I mean, they're like the people at Riot are just like shit talking the entire game. But if you say anything, you're instantly banned.
And like you're right, dude. Like reading their subreddit, their fans will defend this company.
Yeah,
they're all pretty much defending this company.
Other highlights in this huge blog post. Or they might start a paragraph by saying, now, for instance, if I fucked your wife, and then segue into what they were actually supposed to be saying. The homosexual variants would be things like, well, if he sucked your dick, would you feel better about this? Or, it's not like I'm asking you to suck my dick, but I'd be okay if you did. Is that what you're saying? Like, that, okay. Then fart in your face.
I mean, I'm all for CEOs farting in their employees' faces, though. Let's not get it mixed up. I think that's a very effective way at managing a team. Just
Sure, dude.
fart in their face.
Then give him a gun so he can shoot you.
You got to give them all. You would have to give them all guns, though.
But like, no, like a lot of this, obviously, because a lot of their points is why they were always defending this is people are too sensitive, and I do agree there is that to an extent. But the problem where it doesn't matter if people are too sensitive is when you're supposed to be hiring half female employees, and apparently almost all of the female employees are coming out saying, "Did you actually fucking say that?" and are very concerned that you're making rape jokes.
Yeah.
Like, that's when you gotta be like, maybe I should rethink this. But apparently, after he said that, they had it put into all of the actual paperwork and pressers for passing out to the managers for like, this is who we're trying to hire. Like, made sure it was in there. Then when the guy brought it up that he's like, hey, I have like, I have multiple women who I manage who are like very disturbed by this. Like, I know that's not what you're trying to do. They brought him in for a meeting. They had like an hour-long meeting where the guy was like pointing out that, hey, this is probably not the greatest look for us, was basically told he's wrong. And that was basically the end of that, because the CEO is like, no, I want to keep my edgy joke. Haha, XD.
They're edgelords, dude. League of Legends.
Oh,
League of Legends is an edgy game.
During one of the other highlights during that meeting, they also had their head of legal in that meeting with them, and the head of legal, who is a woman, brought up, well, would there be any legal implications in putting this in the paperwork? And the CEO just put his hand in front of her face and said, we're not going to talk about that.
Another power move by
Like,
Brandon.
Dude, no, it's like, seriously, it's all just like 17-year-old power moves. Like, that's all this company is. But the part that just gets me there is like, that's your head of legal. Like, you're just like, they're saying, hey, maybe we could get sued for this, and your response is, we're not going to talk about that. Shut the fuck up, bitch. Like, how stupid do you have to be? How is this still a company?
That's the question. I mean, I guess these are effective methods because they're still a company. He's still CEO, and they have a rabid fan base that seems to defend farting in your employees' faces.
Well, yeah, half their fan base is 13.
So it's insane. It's insane. But nonetheless, it's good to see more people are kind of coming out about it. Hopefully, we'll see this guy ousted, or at least some sort of justification for this all. Otherwise, it's like, I mean, like, what's the standard of like a professional company? It's kind of insane.
Yeah, like almost everything about like, and it's just, there's such a disconnect too, which is what is crazy about it too, is like all of this talk about being edgy, and it's like you have the safest game in your genre.
Yeah.
Like,
all right, moving on. Let's get into the tech portion. All right, I do want to talk about KSI Logan Paul. This was interesting. This was interesting because this did better in terms of numbers than anything in combat sports. This is fucking gigantic. This is bigger than any UFC fight this year. This is bigger than any boxing fight this year. This was the biggest fight of the year. Two YouTubers.
Fighting really in that bad of a space?
This was just so massive. So massive. And also, granted, it was $10 and a lot of it was illegally streamed.
Yeah, I think it was the illegally streamed, like 12-year-olds like me. And yeah, mostly it was $10 on $150.
Right. $60 normally for like a UFC fight, but still that's a commitment to make, you know. And if there's 2 fights a month, yeah, that's $120. But that said, they still did massive numbers. If you haven't seen the fight, it was actually an interesting fight. Like they actually beat each other up, which was nice.
No, it was a lot better than I expected it.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
Yeah, like
way
I was
way
expecting
better
it to
actually.
go.
I thought it was gonna be just like a whole bunch
I mean,
of just
well,
like fainting and moving
yeah.
around the ring, but they
And there
actually
was still- there was a good-
beat each other up.
They did beat each other up. There was still a fair amount of feigning and just taunting and moving around, not doing too much, but they did actually try.
Yeah,
You could tell, and that's what made it enjoyable.
and
Because it still was like, but I don't know.
it couldn't have
metrics-wise-
ended any better for them either. So it's
No,
like
for them,
Logan
it was
Paul
insane.
dominating the first half of the fight. There are the first 2 rounds. The second 2 rounds, it's kind of even. And then the last 2 rounds, KSI magically comes back and almost beats the shit out of Logan Paul at that last round. But
Yeah,
ends up being a majority draw. One judge gave it to KSI. 2 other judges said it's a draw. That means it's a majority draw. KSI retains the belt, but they don't get the win. So they're going to have another rematch in the United States, hopefully determining a winner. Imagine if they get another draw. Then what happens? Probably not going to happen. They're
No,
probably
they
going to
won't.
determine a winner.
this is all stage crap. Like,
I think this next one is where they determine the winner. And the way that KSI was fighting towards the end of the fight, if Logan doesn't figure out,
how to have stamina?
because he was really dominant. Logan looked really, really good in the first. Like he looked like a better
Oh,
boxer.
the first 2 rounds was all him. He had good range, but he was like
He just-
mechanically, he was a much better boxer.
yeah, he just ended
But-
up gassing out.
Yeah.
And he didn't really have an answer for when KSI started to come in a lot closer and box him at his range.
Yeah. You try to bear hug, and then you bear hugged too many times and got tired.
Yeah. And
But like that's the other thing is like, this was a good fight because you could tell how much they were actually trying, and it made it really enjoyable. But it still was not a good
no, I
boxing
mean this is not
categorizer
like
was a shit show.
yeah, it's not like you're watching Anthony Johnson or someone out there.
Like the last
But it was
couple of
pretty
rounds
good.
were the
was
last
entertaining.
it was very entertaining but like the last probably 2 rounds you could tell how tired they were, and they were just windmilling like this.
Yeah.
There was like no jabs by the end of it. It was just trying to like do whatever they could to hit the other person.
Yeah. I will say, too, KSI does look like he had a little bit more stamina in the tank.
Yeah.
He was definitely paced himself a little bit more. And it also seems like he wasn't really affected by a lot of Logan's punches. There were a few punches thrown by KSI that hit Logan that actually like wowed him a little bit. And I did a whole little analysis on the fight, breaking it down. I believe KSI won. If you break it down round by round, you give 2 rounds to Logan. The third and the fourth are pretty even. I would give I would say they're KSI. So you would give 2 rounds to KSI. The 5th round's really close. I drawed him at the 5th round, but then KSI easily won the last round. That gives KSI 3 over 2 rounds, Logan. So I would have given it to KSI, much like that one judge did. So I know that I didn't see any different way. One judge did give him the win. That's the way I saw it. 2 other judges say, I guess that 5th round was too close to call, or they gave it to Logan, which he was dominant in the first half of the 5th round, but that would be the only way that you would call that a draw is if they gave him that 5th round, and I guess they did. So now we're going to see a rematch, and I'm definitely going to buy it. I thought this was fun. It was a fun little Saturday watching YouTube.
Scarce fought.
Scarce.
Scarce fought someone.
Scarce got his
Think
ass
about
destroyed. I hope he rematches because he said he lost 100 pounds, and he has like pictures
Oh,
of
it
him.
shows. Yeah. No, it shows.
Super skinny, but that drains you. I want
Yeah.
him to be healthy going into this next fight him Raka
Like,
again.
he was a string bean all of a sudden. It was just like, dude, you used to be like
It's kind of cringy.
80 and now you're a string bean. Like, what happened to Scarce? Where's your flannel?
It was kind of cringy
And now you're
seeing
playing
how hard
football.
he tried to like be mad at this guy. You
Like,
know?
that's the other thing, dude. Like, that's what I don't get is like Scarce is of all the drama YouTubers, like Scarce is like the nice one, you know?
He's like Hello Kitty.
Yeah, he's exactly. He's the Hello Kitty, and he's like, no, I'm gonna fight in this fight.
And then tried to like be mad at the dude. and then got his ass whooped. But nonetheless, I give it to him. He was in there for a while getting his face pounded in. Rock looked good. Face Sensei looked good too. But it's fun. I want to see more YouTube fighting, man. I think this is a fun little genre. I don't want it to get too serious. They need to keep it lighthearted. Keep it lighthearted, keep it fun, keep the weird matchups. Let's see Ethan in H3 versus Keemstar. Fights like that. You know what I mean? This is the new celebrity boxing. I'm all for it. I'll buy it.
Yeah, I did make that comment too. Is like, that was the thing that was craziest to me. Is like, okay, this is a generation that grew up watching celebrity deathmatch at night, and now it's a thing. Yeah, like this is we're in the YouTube generation. Why?
I'm pumped. I want them to take the headgear off though. I would love for them to take the headgear off.
No, I'm not down. Like, as much as I don't like some of these people, I don't want them like getting just.
It doesn't really do anything though. It really just prevents cuts on like your forehead. It doesn't like prevent a knockout, you know? Yeah. And it just gets in your way. And they're constantly fixing their headgear because it's getting shifted around. Like, it's just take it off. You don't need it. All right, moving on. I did want to talk about Sharp Objects. So show on HBO. Go watch it. It's excellent. It's about, I can't say too much. I'll spoil it. But go watch it. It's with Amy Adams. It just ended, so you can go stream the whole thing if you have HBO Go. Excellent show. Season finale was phenomenal. Moving on. All right. So let's skip the case. Talk about the Fuji X-T3 rumors. I posted this in the Discord. Don't buy any cameras right now. Nikon just released their mirrorless camera. Actually, let's talk about that now real quick. Nikon released their mirrorless version, the Z7, the Z6. The Z7 basically is trying to go after the Sony A7 series. 45.7 megapixel camera, in-body stabilization. It's got 493 autofocus points. Shoots up to 9 frames per second. It's got an amazing viewfinder, OLED viewfinder, and back screen. Doesn't have a flip-out screen, but it is an articulating screen. Only one XQD card slot. You don't get 2 slots, so there's no way you can save a card if it fails. Rarely do they fail, but all you need is it to fail once. And it also captures 4K at 30 frames. Best part about it, it captures 10-bit 422 Nikon log output over HDMI. So you attach a little Atomos on it, you get that full 422 10-bit file, which is awesome. Problem is that it's a whole new mount. It's the Z mount or the Z mount. And you're gonna need you can only adapt your lenses if you're a Nikon user if you get their adapter, which is like another $150, $200, something like that. So it's not a bad offering. It's just not what a lot of people wanted, especially Nikon users. But it's pretty good. Canon's going to be releasing their full frame mirrorless technology very soon. So if you're thinking about getting a Sony A7R or a mirrorless full frame camera, something like in that realm, wait, because the Fuji X-T3 is coming out, and we're hearing that it's going to be amazing. Fuji's probably one of the best digital camera makers in the game right now. Some of the video specs that they're talking about, 4K 60 frames per second with 10-bit output, which would be better than the Nikon version. It'd be better than the Sony's version. You would get the Fuji picture profiles, which have some of the best color science in the game, probably the best color science in the game. You're getting their X-Trans sensor, 26 megapixels. They're saying it might not have in-body stabilization in there, which could be a problem. That would eliminate it for, vloggers. And it also doesn't have a selfie screen, but we shall see. We don't know too much. It's coming up to look like a really interesting camera, though. And then Canon, we really don't know too much about Canon yet. We're going to wait for their announcement soon in September. So don't buy a camera, because there's a lot of good stuff coming out. If you want a drone, I have to recommend the new Mavic 2 Pro. This also offers 10-bit HDR 4K recording on a 1-inch sensor. So we're finally getting basically a drone with this camera on it that flies around and has 10-bit HDR recording. I'm going to get one. This is the drone that I'm buying. I can't wait to get one. I'm super excited for it. And there's really nothing else to say. I mean, DJI's Mavic line is just awesome. They also released a zoom version. I don't think it's that useful over the Pro 2 because it's not the 1-inch sensor. So you're going to get remarkably less video quality from it. The Pro, you want that 1-inch sensor. You want to be able to crunch your apertures down. You want to be able to get that 10-bit HDR recording. It's just going to look way better. and the footage from it just looks fucking awesome. I'm super excited.
Yeah, that camera. Well, the camera on the Mavic looks really good.
Yeah, I'm
Still too
really
big,
happy. I'm really happy with what DJI is doing with the Mavic line. I think
I'm happy
it's
that
just
they're
smart.
continuing it. If that makes sense, like they're taking the GoPro route, and I hope they can continue that.
Yeah.
And by that I mean they're actually every year they're actually trying to do better instead of realizing, hey, we have a monopoly, because they totally do,
Yeah.
and just releasing dog shit.
Yeah, they're doing fucking awesome. This Mavic is gonna be legit, and you can still get the other Mavic, the Mavic 1, at a cheaper price now. So if you wanted a Mavic, go pick one of those up. If you want a super tiny version, go get the Spark.
Just like you can find those for like less than 400, like 350 now, 300. Like,
Yeah,
that's
if you're
insane.
someone who's going to be using the images for any sort of like actual video that you're producing, or like a YouTube channel or something like that, get one with a nice camera. Get the Mavic 2 Pro. But if you just want to take, quick videos of you're hiking somewhere, you want to fly your drone out and just take a couple landscapes, then get the Spark or get a Mavic 1, because you really don't need that 10-bit HDR file.
It's one of those, if you don't have a use for it, it's probably not worth it. Buy the cheap one. If you have a use for it, then go for it.
Yeah.
But the thing I do worry about sometimes is people thinking they have a use for it and then just buying it, using it once, and never touching it again.
Yeah.
Because that's what I can definitely see.
I'll tell you what, Ash comes over here sometimes from Liquid Barn, and he has a Mavic, and every time he comes, I'm like, dude, bring the drone out, dude. And they are fun to use.
Yeah, no, they are. Because I reviewed one of the original Mavics, and it's a ton of fun.
Yeah.
But you definitely either know you're gonna use it a lot, or you don't. And if you don't know, buy the cheap one.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not filming with it. This is if you're just the kind of person who needs to get establishing shots, or you're someone who likes to go and you're outdoorsy and you want to see nice landscapes and stuff, and you want a better looking if you have the money, definitely get the one with the better lens, the 1-inch sensor. If you have the money, get the fucking Phantom series, where you get the actual fucking Micro Four Thirds sensor on it. You can change your lenses out. That's sick. But that's also a lot more money.
Yeah. Also, if you're a YouTuber and you actually really want it, only buy it if you are making enough money off YouTube, or you actually have goals with your production level.
Yeah. Or if you just want a cool drone. It's still a cool drone.
Yeah.
It's not that expensive.
No.
It's about the price of a phone. You're getting a fucking flying machine with a camera on it. It's pretty cool. That's the only reason why I haven't gotten one yet. I didn't really know, what am I gonna fly it around my office? you know what I'm saying, and take pictures with it. But
also
I do want one. They are cool.
Definitely check out what your local laws are before you get into that. Because everywhere has different laws on them.
Supposedly in New York City, it's a nightmare.
I'm sure. But if you had the Spark, you could just fly it around your office.
Yeah.
Because that one is small enough you can fly it inside, which that's cool to me. Just I want to just take those around all the old abandoned buildings in Detroit and just fly the little Spark through them.
You should maybe even think about getting one of those racing drones, and then set up a course in those abandoned buildings. Race other people. That'd be dope. They still have cameras on them.
Yeah. Just make a racing league.
I always wanted to do that. I mean, it looks so fun. I'm also afraid of it looks like Bitcoin is booming right now. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but it keeps going up right now. Last time I looked at it, it was at 70. It was at 7,000. It's out now at 7,100, almost. I don't know what's going
on. The case we were going to mention, Evolve X. Oh my god, it looks so good.
All right, we'll just touch on it real quick here. I'll put a photo up so we can look at it.
Dude, I've wanted this case for a while.
I think the best parts about it.
I want every case, but oh my god.
You do like cases. I think the best part about it is the lighting.
It's the lighting, but it's all of the features it actually has for $200. It's a good sized case. It has.
It's so. I mean, the Evolve is the best case I think you can get, and now they just made it better.
Airflow on it looks really good, but then also every almost every case in that price range has two of the features that this case has that they do really well, and this is like the first case to actually be like, no, we have all of them, because you can actually do that at this price range.
Yeah.
But for me, what really makes me want this one is I do use multiple computers, and you can put multiple computers in this case, and that just gets me all kinds of feels.
Are you gonna do it? Are you gonna put two
Probably
computers
not,
in one
but-
case?
Probably not, but it's really tempting.
Come on,
It's
do
so
it.
tempting.
You want a new
just make-
case?
No, have main rig in that, and mini ITX Linux box in the other one as server. It's really tempting, but probably not.
That'd be dope. If you get a new case, you're definitely gonna be getting this one.
Yeah. No, it would be, because the other thing is that case is going to last you 15 years.
Yeah.
So
No,
it is,
it
I'm probably going
looks
to buy
sick.
it at some point. Like, if I were to completely combine all those workflows like that, it would probably take.
The only problem with this case is that it's so good, so many people have it, and your computer is gonna look a lot like theirs. That's really the only problem with this case. That's the only problem with the Evolve cases. Everyone gets them.
I honestly don't care.
Yeah.
To be honest, because it's
Yeah.
the same thing with NZXT.
Right. I
Like,
have the
there's one of those-
S340.
Exactly.
Everyone gets
Like,
the
when there's-
S340.
When there's a new NZXT case, everyone buys them. When there's a new Evolve case, everyone buys them. Like, and that's the cycle of life.
Yeah.
And like last year, everyone bought a Mesh C. It is
Yeah.
what it is, because they're the best cases.
I'm due for an upgrade, so I might be snagging this one.
I mean, dude, it's really tempting to just like realize I could put my entire server work in the same box.
So I'm saying, do it, man. You could do it. I love the fucking cable management system that they have on here too, with the panels.
But like, it's got that. It has the actual push through for all of, if you want to put a reservoir. It's got two fill holes if you want to put reservoirs in it for actual like hardline water cooling. It has actual nice closing bays if you don't have the hard drives, or if you want to poke them out and put hard drives in. It actually has room for two systems. Like, it has all of the features that you would see only on a couple of them. Like, it's insane to me. Like, every case that we've been talking about over the
And it's
last
got
year
sick
for that
lighting.
price would have like two of the features. It would be like, oh yeah, it has the cable management back panel with glass on both sides,
Right.
and that's it. Or like, and the hard drives, but it wouldn't have the fill ports. It wouldn't have the second system. It wouldn't have this and that. Or it would have just the second
Wait.
system. Cable management would be
Wait,
shit.
does it have USB-C on the front?
It does.
Yeah, boy, I'm getting it.
Yeah. No, and it has USB-C on the front.
I'm getting it.
Like, it's like all of the features we actually want. Fantex listened.
Thank you, Fantex. I'm gonna buy your case. Hopefully, I can get one.
Yeah, it might take a little bit, because I'm pretty sure they're gonna sell out.
Everyone in the comments, just wants one right now.
Yeah, because it looks beautiful, and it's like, oh, this is like probably. It sounds crazy, but for $200, it's probably one of the best value cases there's been in a hot minute.
Since the old
minute.
Evolve, since the old one.
Even before the old one, I think. Because like, I think like this is probably one of the best values since like the Half X,
Hmm.
and that was what, 2011.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was like 2011, 2012, maybe 2010. But Cooler Master Half X, I think this is like the best value since that case.
Well, at least now more case developers are gonna put more shit on their cases. All right, moving on. Apple rumors. No Apple Pencil support for 2018 iPhones. They claim that it's giving a bad user experience, which makes sense. They would have to create a new Apple Pencil for that, but who's gonna? There's nowhere to put it. You know?
Just use the Logitech Crayon, dude.
Yeah, there you go. Just nowhere
Please
to put it. It's
don't.
not like a note where you can shove it in the phone.
Well, yeah. The only one I would see that being useful on anyway is if their rumored 6.5-inch one actually exists, because that is note size.
Yeah.
But like, otherwise, no, dude. I don't even know.
Yeah.
No.
If you need to use a pencil, just get the iPad. It's way better.
Yeah.
So we're thinking that they're doing it on September 12th. So they're gonna have their convention. We're getting a 6.5 OLED, 5.8 OLED. They're going to be called the 10S, and then the 10S Plus, and then we're getting the 6.1 inch LCD which is actually has a terrible resolution of 1792 by 828. So it's barely 1080p. But that's okay. It's an LCD. It's the cheaper option. It's going to be around $600. And you're still going to get the A12 processor in it.
Yeah,
It's not
honestly,
too bad of a
if
phone.
you still get an A12 and 1080p for $600, if it's actually $600, that could be really good.
Yeah, it's not going to be too bad.
No, if it's 600, like
You're still
dude,
getting like
that's
that
the
design
OnePlus-
too.
That's the OnePlus strategy in a nutshell.
Right.
Is make a banging phone for $550 with a 1080 screen instead of a bigger screen.
It's
That's literally the OnePlus
a
nutshell.
1080 screen. It's going to be bezel-less. You're going to get a little notch on the top, but Apple does the notch better than anyone else. And then you're also getting the aluminum body with a what's it called? It's just a good phone. You know, it's just a good phone. That's going to be the one that most people get. And if you want, you know, a nicer screen, the battery life. It's going to have way better battery life because it's such a lower resolution. It's not, you know, It's going to be great on a battery.
If that actually comes out at $600, like I was hoping, that I'm definitely gonna have to look into that.
Yeah, that's going to be a really competitive phone. I'm interested in the actual smaller OLED version. I don't think I'm going to go Plus version this year. And that's going to be the one that I pick up. And that's pretty much it for those rumors. There's something else, too. Oh, they were talking about how they're going back to the 2-cell battery technology where it's kind of like this L-shaped battery. And they're going to be using, in the 6.1 LCD model, they're going to be using the 2x2 MIMO modem, where the OLED models will be getting the 4x4 MIMO modems. Just a little bit faster connectivity. And the LCD version will be, they're thinking it might be delayed a little bit on the production just because they're going to have to make a lot more of them. And they're pretty much just ramping up production on the OLED versions, but the LCD one might take a little bit more time, which makes sense. Usually they're cheaper options. You know, they'll release that more around Christmas time and stuff like that.
It's not like Apple has any supply issues ever.
Right. They were saying that the people who make their chips, they're doing such a great job that they're probably going to stick with them for a while now. They keep innovating. They keep making their chips better. TMCS or whatever that acronym is.
Actually, going on to random semiconductor news segment. Boo 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 boo. Global Foundries today actually announced that they're going to stop working on their 7-nanometer technology, which
really
I have feels, yeah.
That
because
7-nanometer seems to be giving people problems.
No, apparently, well, yeah, probably. But what they're claiming is it wasn't a tech issue. It was just realizing financially doesn't make sense. Which to me is like still probably tech issues, to be honest. But at the same time, cost does make sense because Global Foundries is
there could be an issue with the tech leading up to that cost. You know,
right? That's what I was going to say is, Global Foundries is one of the larger semiconductors supplying AMD chips.
Right.
So that's really where AMD was going to try to make that 7-nanometer jump. But they could still probably do that. But since I think honestly a large chunk of it is how delayed Intel's been. Like
that makes sense.
Even if you can make the 7-nanometer chip,
right,
like it probably costs 3 times the price to actually make right now than the 10-nanometer chip they're making, or 12-nanometer.
No,
and guess what? The 12-nanometer still, it's like, look at Threadripper.
Right.
It's still the most competitive thing if they can cut their costs down 3 times and still be ahead of the curve. Like
that's what it sounds like, actually.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking.
Because if they could jump to 7 nanometers, but like you said, the cost of production is gonna be higher, and for the most part, there's not gonna be many people buying those chips.
Right.
And they can just stick at 12 where Intel's at right now, and Intel has no plans. That'll definitely get Intel to be like, all right, now we have a little bit more leeway to push this 7 nanometer out the way we want it instead of rushing to catch up with AMD.
Or yeah, the 10-7, because it's the same thing basically, because the different measuring systems
Yeah.
Because why should we have
Semantics.
standardized things?
It's all semantics.
Yeah. But
Interesting.
like, yeah, no. So that was a rumor that came out today from Global Foundries that I mean, I'm not a fan of, obviously, but
Makes sense though.
makes sense. Yeah, it is what it is.
All right, that's it for the show. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry that we couldn't give you two. Well, we gave you 2 shows. We almost did 2 hours. So we'll see you guys next week, and then after that, I don't know. You guys planning on doing shows when I'm gone? You got about 2, maybe 3 weeks of shows.
Gonna do the WoW Power Hour
WoW Power Hour.
because Raid comes out next week.
Dude, but you have free reign to talk all the fucking amiibos you want, man.
We'll see. I might do something. We'll see.
Dude, but you don't get to do anything until you play The Witcher. I'm kidding. Please do stuff.
All right, we'll catch y'all later. Peace.